I surrender! Oh.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of Pack Review, the video where I spend money on packs so you guys don't have to. And I'm pretty excited for this one in specific because this is going to be a Sinbad-like pack that we have here. And with this pack, it is the Doomsday Krok Hoard Pack. Okay, I was gonna forget the name for some reason, but this is considered to be like a Sinbad type pack, and I'm super excited for this one because again, it's a Sinbad type pack. I actually was a pretty big fan of the Sinbad pack. I thought it was actually a very good pack overall, and I hope this one is the same. I haven't really been told much about this pack in terms of like if it's good or not. That's why I'm here today, to let you guys know. And pretty much before we even get started, there are some ground rules that I have for anyone who is probably new to pack review. Rule number one is we open a pack based on a 10k opening. Sometimes I might open a little more because one of two things. Either A, I actually really like the pack, or B, I want to get something very specific out of the pack. Number two is that they have a new rating system now. It's going to be from 0 to 5. Sometimes I'll try my best not to get a 0. It's going to be very rare that a pack gets 0. But so far, the lowest rating pack is actually going to be the new Pharaoh's pack. That one probably has the lowest rating overall, and if I was to give it a 0, I would, but there is some stuff that's kind of useful in this pack overall that kind of saved itself from being absolutely terrible. And with the third thing is that I usually do the pack openings first, and afterwards I do the review, so that you guys can see a little bit of the pack openings, because I know you guys really like to see the pack opening portion to the videos. So that's what we're doing today. Without further ado though, let's get started with the first opening. Alright, let's see what we got. Did we get anything good? The one thing I have to mention about this pack specifically is that it's going to be dropping some of these reagents. These reagents are meant to be to craft the new gauntlet. So again, if you want to actually do that, then you can go ahead and do that, because this might be the best way overall. Alright, so first opening, not too bad, not too good. We did get a robe though, so we at least got something for appearance, I suppose. I saw some of the gear, and honestly, I really like the robe. I think the robe looks really nice. I think the boots look really nice, but the hat itself is just something that I just don't like overall. Second pack opening, not too bad. Get a Namaste TC, I mean, those are kind of good. And we're going for the third pack here. Hey, we got ourselves the new wand here. Honestly, it doesn't look all that great, but we'll definitely check that a little bit later. And we got ourselves some Bloodmat Spellements. Bloodbats. I gotta say these right. Alright, let's keep opening these. And we got more reagents. We got another robe. It's the same one. Oh, we got a bunch of reagents from this opening, which is actually pretty good. We'll just keep opening and see what we get. Who knows? Maybe I'll be able to... Oh, look at that snow serpent. Okay, that's interesting. We got more of the reagents, and we also got ourselves some housing gear that might be from like the Sinbad one, if I remember correctly, which is definitely raising some flags for me. A lot of these housing items are kind of raising some flags. We did get some bell peppers though, which is, well, back in the day, it used to be pretty good. Now, I will have to say that it's probably not the best to have bell peppers, because Fire Beetle TC is pretty much not a thing anymore, but we did get them, which I guess it's fine. And we got some Mander TC, housing items, most snow serpents. It seems to be kind of like a sort of Druid's pack in a way, where you're getting pretty decent amount of Spellements, which I could definitely appreciate compared to most packs already so far. And we finally got ourselves some boots, which is that, ooh, that's cool. You got the Boreas E-Free. I know the other one had the Balance E-Free, which is also really cool. That's nice. I like that. We're gonna keep opening more and see what we get. Okay, so we got even more blood bats. I mean, these give quite a bit of blood bats. Compared to like the last Spellemental pack, this one probably is one of the better ones in terms of like getting Spellements for those specific spells that you need. Obviously, it's going to probably give more of the 1-pip ones because it's a little bit less OP with the 1-pip ones compared to like the 2-pip ones, since the 2-pip ones already give like a status effect, or it gives like basically some sort of utility. That's like a better terminology for it. And okay, we got more of the reagents. We might as well just keep opening until like we run out of crowns, but this one should be the last one until we are basically... Oh, let's go! Oh, yes! We got ourselves the permanent mount. Nice! And we got ourselves some snow serpents. So far, only been like one snow serpent at a time, which definitely not the best, but it's definitely not the worst. So let's actually open some of these free ones. We only got 2 of them, so we might as well just open and see what we get. Not good. Okay, and we'll open this one as well. Also not good. This actually is pretty bad, I'll be honest. Alright guys, so I am back and I just wanted to showcase some of the gear. Unfortunately, I don't have all the gear, but I will showcase the gear from a different person, probably through Twitter, or in this case, in terms of like the gear stats. I will showcase one thing that I found very interesting in the gear stats. So before I even get started on that, I just want to give a shout out to Kyle Icewielder for pretty much being the source of that one specific gear set, because I actually feel pretty bad when I don't get majority, if not all, the gear, because by then I can't really make fair comparisons to other packs, and I feel like it'll be right for me to at least showcase to you the potential that some gear stats might have. So again, shout out to the Kyle Icewielder. I'll link his channel to the description. If you happen to tune in to one of his videos, make sure to let him know that the pack reviewer sent you here. And other than that, let's just showcase some of the gear. So let's take a look here. We got one of the mounts. This is my actually only per mount, likely my least favorite one overall. This is actually really nice looking. This is pretty much like most other packs, as it's essentially same texture but different colors for the most part. All of the colors are usually different, but the texture for the most part just stays the same. And this mount in particular is the Aphosis mount, which is my least favorite one. We also got 2 other mounts that we wanted to showcase. Satish, which is actually my most favorite because I am a sucker for the blue and gold combination. And I feel like this will go really well with my Myth Stitch in terms of like the Beastman Stitch, just to have this mount for no reason. You know, just because I want to have it. You know, that's it. But this is very neat. I really like this mount a lot. Very nice in detail. As you can see, colors pretty much different, texture all stays the same, but this is my most favorite because I absolutely just adore the colors. And for the next one is the Sakars, which will be the last one, and something about green and purple just matches really well. And I think this is probably the second best, if not maybe... No, I still think the other one was still better. You know, I'm a sucker for gold and blue combination. This is my second favorite for sure. And as you can see, you know, same texture, different colors, and even the saddle itself has a little bit of a slight different color as well, as my camera was messing up there, my bad. But that's pretty much what we have in terms of the stats. Let's actually remove the mount real quick so we can showcase the gear. Unfortunately, did not get all the gear, but I will be showing a person who did get all the gear, at least for one of the sets, to showcase what they are. But pretty much, I have to say, I really like the robe. I like that it gives like that scarab detail to it. Like it's a scarab theme. Like it's really nice. The hat is very weird. Again, I don't have it on me right now, but I will showcase a picture just to let you know. And the hat itself is just kind of weird. Like I am not a fan of the hat. I don't know what it is with Wiz and hats, but like hats and Wiz just never really mixed out well. For some reason, it's like everything else is good, but once you apply the hat on, everything pretty much goes into the dumpster. But for the most part, it is very good for stitching. The wand itself, I might even have to argue, is good for stitching as well. It has a really nice, you know, old relic feel to it, and it's just a nice looking wand. You know, it gives a nice shine to it. You know, obviously you have like the little clouds showing that it's pretty much like an ancient relic. It's an ancient relic weapon that was just carved up from the pyramids of Krokotopia. It's very nice overall. And the pet itself is also very adorable. I actually like the pet. It's very nice looking. In terms of stats though, I don't really know if the pet really is all that for the most part, but you know, it's nice. You know, that's all I really have to say in terms of aesthetic. Well, first, before we talk about the stats, let's talk about the Spellements. This pack is actually pretty good in terms of Spellements. I was able to get 10 Snow Serpent, 23 Blood Bats, probably one of the better packs in terms of Spellements, other than maybe the Druids pack. And to be fair, the Druids pack is just Sun Spells, so obviously we probably would have gotten these very often anyway, because they do drop very often within the Catacombs. So it really wouldn't hurt them to, you know, have them drop a lot in the pack itself. But in terms of this pack in general, this is definitely loads better than the Pharaoh's Hoard pack in terms of like the Spellements overall. As you can see, the Blood Bat here is with two different sets, either one set being extra accuracy but you get set damage, or the other one which is more potential damage but you get the same accuracy. You obviously know which one I'll be going with for the most part. And as for Snow Serpent, you got more damage, or you got same damage but with an absorb utility, and you guys can probably figure out which one I will pick as well. It's pretty obvious, but this pack itself did give a pretty decent amount of Spellements. I definitely have to give credit where credit's due in terms of Spellements. It's very nice. It's a big plus for me, but it also gave a pretty decent amount of reagents for the Doomsday Krok Gauntlet. It's kind of the same in terms of the Sinbad, so it's going to be fairly difficult to craft this. And I know it's probably for a good reason. It's because, you know, they want people to buy the actual bundle for the Gauntlet. It's obvious. But you might be seeing some of these reagents come to Decathlon, so stay tuned for that, because most likely they will bring this in Decathlon. Maybe even a balanced Decathlon specifically. Alright, so we are here with the gear here to compare, because I did use Kyle Icewielder in order to get at least the stats for the gear comparison. So again, shouts to Kyle Icewielder, but I want to showcase some of the stats in terms of the hat. You see the significant difference is really just a crit. You lose the power up chance, you get more health, and you get more crit, but you do lose some damage. You lose a pretty good amount of damage actually. In this one overall, you get like around 30 damage, and the other one you get around 22 in terms, at least as we're talking about like storm damage for the most part. So definitely something to keep an eye on. I wouldn't really recommend this overall. I don't really think it's really that good to switch from the Zafaria pack gear for like damage and crit to this gear for just crit. I just don't really think it's worth it. But let's make some more comparisons. In terms of the robe, now this one is kind of poor man's Jade, but there is one that's actually very interesting. This is the one that gives feints, but there is another one that gives, not only does it give, I believe it gives the life Ifrit. Yeah, it does give the life Ifrit. This is the Satesh set, again, also gotten from Kyle Icewielder, but this is what I'll probably consider as a really good Jade replacement. It gives tons of health, it gives a little bit more power up chance, it gives more block, I believe. You do lose some universal resistance, but that's a small price to pay because you get a lot more health significantly, and you also get a pretty good amounts of incoming and outgoing as well, plus shadow pip chance, which the original Jade gear does not have as of currently. It also comes with the life Ifrit, which gives the weakness. Again, there's a lot of good things that come from that road in particular, but would I really recommend you trying to get this pack in order to just get that specific robe? The answer to that is actually no. And the reason for this is because we already know that eventually KingsIsle is going to likely make a new Keeper's Lore pack. That's going to be a Spelemental Keeper's Lore pack, but they're going to upgrade the Jade gear. I'm very certain that's going to happen. It's inevitable. It's going to happen eventually. So that Jade gear is going to be loads better than what you will get from that specific robe. But if you want to go for it, I say definitely give it a chance and see if you get it, because it is pretty decent. It's not terrible. It's actually very nice, but you have to remember that there is a possible chance that it will be replaced. So keep an eye on that for now. As for the boots, let's actually make a comparison here. So what I have here is the Sakar boots, which is the myth and fire comparison. We're going to compare it to like the Dragoon's boots. And as I can see, it's really not worth it to keep this set over the other set. You pretty much get less of everything except for the, let's see, you get universal accuracy, which is okay, I suppose. You lose resistance. You get less crit. You get less damage. Power pip, I mean not power pip. You also lose power pip chance. I forgot to mention that. And also you only get like 3% shadow pip chance, and it's pretty much the same all around for that. So to replace it with Dragoon's boots is definitely not the move. But what about the comparison of the boots? Alright, well, you get more health with this set. You lose power pip chance with this set. You get just one more accuracy with this set. You get more crit with this set. But you get less damage with this set. Actually, not even just less damage. You get significantly less damage with this set. So, boots for this, in my opinion, I think Zafaria boots are still superior if we're going for a crit damage hybrid. This is still probably the best for damage and crit overall. But, okay, Frenzy, what about the wand? What's special about the wand? Well, the wand, in my opinion, is pretty meh. The only thing I really like about it is the Maycast. It's a very interesting Maycast here. They all have very interesting Maycasts. For example, this is Krokotopia, does 355 damage, steals charm, and also does 25% extra damage to the enemy for the next round. I'm guessing it's either a trap or a blade, but it's very interesting as a Maycast. Depending how often it's used, which probably isn't that often, it may not be the best. You also have Krokotopia as a Maycast, which does 405 damage, removes a charm and also a shield, which is actually very good. And then finally, you have the last one, which is the Satish set, and this gives the Maycast Krokotopia, which does 305 damage, steals a shield, and gives an absorb. The Maycasts are really nice. Like, they're really nice Maycasts. They're basically damage utility, shield breaking Maycasts. It's very good. But the stats that it gives is definitely not worth it in my opinion. In fact, we can make a comparison right now. Since we have the myth sets, we're going to compare from Sakar's Javelin to both Sinbad's and also the Zafaria one, which I believe I do have the Zafaria one somewhere here. If not, I'll just cut back and just show. Okay, I do have it here. Cool. All right. So what about Sinbad? You know, what can we compare with Sinbad? Well, what we get here is that Sinbad gives you more damage. It gives you, I will say that it gives you, actually it gives you more crit because it's universal crit. So it gives you more crit. Obviously it doesn't give like a specific school crit, but it doesn't matter. Like universal crit is just the same as specific school crit, pretty much. And you also get more pierce from the Sinbad one. You do lose pip conversion if you convert to Sinbad, but again, that's just 20 pip conversion. It's not that big of a difference. And overall, I have to say that it's definitely not good to replace this with Sinbad for PvP. But what about PvE, Frenzy? You know, because, you know, not everyone does PvP. Okay, well, let me show you the comparison. Let's see from here. If I was to have this and I wanted to change to this one, well, I'll get 4% more myth damage. I have less crit. However, I do get that back because I have a little bit of block. Now, block isn't necessarily as important, but to have two different stats and with the critical not being that much different in terms of the amount you get, because critical decay is a thing. So really 20 crit isn't really going to change that much for you. And not to mention, I'll get more damage. And not to mention that the one from this Zafaria pack actually gives you more pip conversion. It's a no-brainer that the Zafaria one is still superior for the most part. If you still want to use this for some crit and you're willing to sacrifice some damage, then be my guest. But in my opinion, I don't think this wand really is that useful, because Savannah's is definitely good for damage and crit and some block, you know, as an extra bonus, some pip conversion as an extra bonus. this is just more crit and pretty much nothing else. There's really, well, also the Maycast, but pretty much nothing else. One thing I do want to showcase though, is that they do have some adjustments, but the thing about these is that you have to sacrifice quite a bit of your stats, like a lot of it, in order to even get these sets on you. So in my opinion, I don't really think it's worth. Alright, so what do I think about the pack overall? Well, honestly, it's more of an aesthetic pack in my opinion. Now, yes, you do get more crit in terms of boots. You get more crit in terms of the hat. You have a very interesting jade robe in terms of the, if I remember, I keep forgetting the name of this robe, the Satish robe. But is it really worth spending 10k crowns on the pack? In my personal opinion, no. Here's the problem. The problem is that, number one, the gear itself isn't necessarily loads better for anything. It's not loads better for PvP nor PvE. I rather prefer that it's not really that great for PvP, but it could have at least been a little more PvE oriented, like the Zafario one. I feel like people will at least appreciate if the gear was slightly better in terms of PvE. Secondly, I'll have to say that in terms of the pack quality, it's definitely not the best. And it's because it mostly kept giving me housing items. Like, again, this is always going to be a complaint for me every time I do a pack review, because it's never going to change. But the thing about housing items that not many people like, and in fact, personally for me that I don't like, is that you pretty much get housing items that are not unique to the pack at all. You get housing items that are specifically either from other packs or from the bazaar. In this case, it's both. And that's not a good thing. For me to open the $3.99 pack multiple times in order to just get myself housing items from a different pack is definitely not the way to go at all, in my opinion. Now, the Maycasts are very interesting. I do have to say that, but in order to use these Maycasts, you have to sacrifice quite a bit of stats, including Pierce, which for PvP, I would even say it's worth it. For PvE, I don't even think it's worth it either. I would prefer that people just use the Zafario wand, or even just straight up just go Sinbad, because those two wands, those two sets are superior overall for the most part. And the other thing that I find interesting is that the Ifrit's cards that come with is very nice. Don't get me wrong. It's a very nice thing that they added the Ifrit cards as part of the set. The only thing is that, again, the sacrificing of stats is not that great. Now, in terms of the possibilities of the pack being pretty decent, in terms of like the usefulness, it's really not that useful. I have to say that when it came to the pack's usefulness, the only thing that I found that was really useful are, number one, the Spellements, because it actually gave pretty more often compared to the last pack. Number two is the reagents that's meant to craft the gauntlet. And number three, sometimes onions, sometimes red bell peppers, but it didn't come as often for either or of them compared to most packs that I opened back in the past. So definitely not a big one, but it is there. The possibility of getting them is there, so it's okay. And I forgot about talking about the aesthetics, but the aesthetics are great. You know, I think robe, boots look amazing. The mounts are probably some of my most favorites. And the wands are surprisingly actually really nice looking. I will probably be able to use these in stitches because of how nice it looks. It gives like that ancient relic, you know, type of vibe to it. But other than that, I'm giving this pack a 2.5 out of 5. It's definitely not a pack I recommend. It's not really the worst pack of all time, but it's not really the best pack of all time. Sinbad definitely set a very high bar in terms of, you know, pack quality in this type of extent. But for this one, I'm glad that they at least have the gauntlet, and it's kind of similar to like a Sinbad, so that you be able to get a chance to get some of these items with the gauntlet, and maybe even a chance for getting Spellements. There's lots of potential with it, but the pack itself isn't necessarily that great. Hopefully you did enjoy. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't. Make sure to suggest me any other packs that you want me to review, and as always, remember to stay frenzied. Peace.